Hey rail fans, welcome back to the layout. Today we're in the garage and we're going to start to dissect the layout. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to work in reverse of putting the layout together. As you can see, the layout really didn't suffer much damage during the move, but it's time for a new one. Like I said before, the room I'm going to be using for the layout isn't big enough for the 4x8s put together. And 4x8s are hard to reach across to do stuff. So what I'm going to do is create a 2-foot wide shelf layout and go around the room. As I dissect this or take it apart, I want to reuse most, if not everything, for the new layout. The track can be reused. As you can see, not much of it was damaged. So we want to be careful in the removal process because I plan on reusing it again. If you're not familiar where we were on the layout before, this is where the grain depot and the grain silos used to be. The coal mine used to be in the back corner there. And another reason for taking apart the layout is some of these things could have been done better. I learned a lot over the past year or so with putting layouts together. For starters, I could have used some more feeders for electrical contact or connectivity. So we're going to be putting more feeders in on the next layout. Another thing is one of the joints back here on the curve isn't quite round or curved. It's got like a straightaway or an angle to it, and that new C44 Union Pacific loco that I got with the 6 axles had a hard time going around it. So we're going to redo this stuff a little bit better. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to take my time. Before we actually get started, I need to give a disclaimer. For those of you die-hard rail fans, got weak stomachs or faint hearts, I'm sorry, but we are going to completely dissect this. The scenery, the track, the roadbed, once that's removed, we're going to separate the foam board and the plywood. And after that, we are going to completely disassemble the bench work and start from scratch. Basically, dissecting the layout started before the move. As you can see, the buildings already have been removed along with the trees. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by removing some of the smaller, simpler stuff like the ground throws and some of the rocks and some of the easier things that can be taken off without soaking them with the isopropyl alcohol. I've got some plastic cups here that we'll use to just kind of hold this stuff, different items, so that they don't get mixed up. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to soak the ballast with this isopropyl alcohol. What I do is I've got an old travel spray bottle. There are a couple of cents at your local pharmacy or your local store. Once we soak this, the track should pop right up out of the ballast, and as we go along, once we get the track removed, I'm going to have to desolder the joints and separate them. So we'll go ahead and spray this on. I like working with a sprayer. It's a lot easier for me. Some people like using an eyedropper or a pipette, and it doesn't matter. I just prefer using a sprayer to put it on. All you got to do is give it a couple of seconds to sit and start to soak up. You use a putty knife here to start prying this up. You can see how easy this is coming up out of the ballast. Ballast is just falling right off of there. I've got a feeder wire right here on this joint, so I'm going to need to just pull up the feeder wires. Okay, that section is loose. grab my little soldering iron, and we should be able to just pull this apart. That was pretty easy, so there's one section done. Now that the track is loose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the bridge. I want to salvage that. And what the alcohol is doing is just loosening up the glue. And there's the bridge. pretty much it. Both halves are now completely apart. At least I have some lumber to work with for the bench work. So this will do it for this version of the Plywood Central. So stay tuned for more once we get started on the new layout.